book 6.1b, okay? And we're using divide and multiply to solve questions that need 2 steps to solve. So let's go to do number question 4 here. No, let's do 6 first. We'll do 6. Okay, so the first thing I do is I cut it at the equal sign to make the left side and the right side. And I want my letters on the left. The letters are variables. Variables. Okay. So if I look, this x is on the left, which is good. So this term has a variable. This does not. So I don't want this one on this side. I have to move it to the other side. Or you can think this 6 is like the best friend and this is the neighbor. And if I need to get rid of one of them, who would I get rid of first? I'd get rid of the neighbor. Keep your best friend until the end. So let's get rid of the 42. We always do opposite. So if this is plus 42, I go minus 42. I did that on the left side. Now I go to the right side and I do minus 42. 42 minus 42 is 0. So now I just have 6x equals 300 minus 42 would be 258, I think. Yeah. Now x wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of the 6. So to get rid of the 6, I make the fraction 6 over 6 equals 1. I already have the top of the fraction, so now I have to put the bottom of the fraction on. So divide by 6, divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so really that's 1 and an x, so 1x, and then 258 divided by 6 is 43. So x equals 43. Okay, let's do question 4. Okay, so we cut it at the equal sign to make the left side and the right side. We only have one variable, one letter, and it's on the left. So we have to get rid of the 5 and the 11. The 5 is like the best friend because it's touching, it's very close. And the 11's far. So we're going to get rid of the far one first, the one that's a neighbor. And why? Because we want just our letters, our variables on the left. This term does not have a letter. So we're going to move them to the other side. So this is I lose 11, so I have to do the opposite. I add 11. So 11 minus 11 is 0. So now I only have y over 5 equals 11 plus 9 equals 20. There. So now if I want to get y alone, I have to get rid of the 5. So I need to make the fraction 5 over 5 equals 1. Well, I already have the bottom of the fraction, so I have to put the top on. So I'm going to put the top on. So that's a multiply, 5 times y. If I multiply this by 5, this side, I must multiply this side by 5. I always have to do the same to both sides of the equation. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, so that's 1. So now I have 1y equals 20 times 5 is 100. So y equals 100. So you can see that these two questions are the same. It's just sometimes we have the top of the fraction and sometimes we have the bottom of the fraction. So let's do 7 and 8. Here's 7 and here's 8. So we cut it at the equal sign to make our left side and our right side. Cover this up because there's no x here. X is here. We have to get x alone. So I have to get rid of the 4 and the 10. This 4, this term has the letter that has the x. So this is on the correct side. This one does not have an x, so it needs to move. Okay, this is like the neighbor. So here, there's nothing in front of the 10, so he's really a plus 10. So I have to do the opposite, so lose 10. Now you have to, we did subtract 10 on the left side, so now I have to go to the right side, go all the way over to the right side and put I lose 10. Be careful that you don't put it here because that would still be on the left side. You need to go, you have to put one of the subtract 10s on the left side and one on the right side. Okay, so here 10 subtract 10 is 0. So I lose 4x. Don't forget this. This is I lose 4x. I lose 4x. And 102 subtract 10 would be 92. Okay. Now I need to get x alone, so I have to get rid of this 4. But I need to make the fraction -4 over -4 equals 1. I already have the top, so let's put the bottom of that fraction on. So that's 1, so I really have 1x. And I don't know what 92 divided by 4 is. 92 divided by -4, -23. So x is equal to -23 because the 1 can hide. Now let's do 8. 8 is exactly the same as 7. It's just the last step. See this? I have the bottom of the fraction to get rid of, and here I have the top of the fraction to get rid of. So it's the same method, it just looks a little different. So cut it at the equal sign to make the left and the right. I want my letters on the left. So let's cover this up. I need to get rid of the 2 and the 8. The 8 is like the neighbor, he's far away. He doesn't have a letter, he doesn't have a variable, so I have to move it to the other side. So he's a +8, so we do the opposite, -8. That's on the left. Now I have to go to the right and do a -8. So 8 minus 8 is 0. So now I just have this, r over -2 equals 5 minus 8 equals -3. So this is -3. So now r wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of this 2. So I have to make the fraction, oops, it's a negative. -2 over -2 equals 1. I already have the bottom of the fraction, so I'm going to put the top on. So let's extend this a little bit and put the top on. That's a multiply. If I multiply this side by -2, I must multiply this side by -2. So same over same is always 1. So that's 1r equals a negative times a negative. When they're the same, it's positive. So 3 times 2 is 6. So r equals 6. Okay, let's go to the next page. We'll do some more. Okay. Let's do 13 and 14. So we cut it at the equal sign to make our left side and our right side. We have our letter on this side, so let's see. X wants to be alone, so we have to get rid of the 5 and the 3. The 3 is really close, that's like the best friends, and this is like the neighbor. This doesn't have an X. We want the X to stay here, so we're going to move this to the other side. So I'm going to move the 5, because X wants to be alone. So -5, -5. So now I have 12 minus 5, which equals 7. So this is 7. That's gone, because 5 minus 5 is 0. And I'm left with x over 3. It's okay if x is on the right side. We can do that sometimes. It can be less work for us if we just leave it there. Okay. So now we want to get x by itself, so I have to get rid of the 3. So I have to make the fraction 3 over 3 equals 1. I already have the bottom of the fraction, so now I have to put on the top. So here, I'm going to go times 3 times 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So this is x times 1, which is just 1x. 3 times 7 is 21. So x equals 21. It's okay if this x is on this side. It doesn't matter which side you do. It's just when you're first learning how to do this, it's always easier to put your variables, your letters on the same side, because it just makes it easier for you. But then as you become more experienced doing these questions, it doesn't matter which side you actually have your letter or your variables on. So let's do this one. Cut it at the equal sign. You have your left and your right. The letter's already on the left. We call it the variable in math. Okay, so I'm going to cover this up. The x wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of the 14 and the 25. Who do I get rid of first? This one doesn't have a letter, so he should go to the other side. He doesn't have a variable. So let's move the 25. We always do opposite. So if this is plus 25, we do minus 25. Minus 25. 25 minus 25 is 0. So now I'm left with 14x equals whatever 193 minus 25 is. Let's check on our calculator. 193 minus 25, 168. So that's 168 here. So x wants to be alone, so I have to get rid of the 14. So I need to make the fraction 14 over 14 equals 1. I already have the top, so I need to put the bottom of this fraction on. So let's go divide by 14, same to the other side. That's 1. That's how I get x alone, is I do same over same and it makes 1. Then I have 1x and 168 divide by 14, 12. So x equals 12. And that's my solution, x equals 12. Okay, let's do 16. So cut it to make my left side and my right side. My x, not my x, my k is already on the right side, so let's just leave it there. Okay, we have to get rid of the 8 and the 7 because we have to make k by itself. So this is the close. The 8 is close to it. We always get rid of the terms that don't have the variable, that don't have the letter. So let's get rid of 7 because it's like the neighbor. We do the opposite, minus 7. Now be careful. You have to put the other minus 7. We put this on the right side. We have to do the other minus 7 on the left side now. So go all the way over to the 14 and go minus 7. So 7 minus 7 is 0. Now I have 14 minus 7 equals 7. So this is 7 here. And I have k over 8 still. Now to get k alone, I have to get rid of the 8. The only way to get rid of the 8 is if I make that fraction 8 over 8, because that's equal to 1. I have the bottom of the fraction, so let's put the top on. So I'm going to put times 8, extend that line a little bit, put times 8, because you have to do the same to both sides always. So 8 over 8 is equal to 1, so that's 1. What's k times 1? Just 1k. So that's 1k, and 7 times 8 is 56. So then we have k equals 56.